And welcome back to Tiffin University Radio. It's the Gary Goff Show, live on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3 and WTTF.com. Brought to you by Ace Hardware of Tiffin, the Animal Hospital of Tiffin, CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, State Farm, Ed Lape's office, and Steyer Seeds. So, Coach, we talked about you. We got pretty much your audio resume out of the way to begin with. We talked about McHenry University. We talked a little bit about the schedule, as well as some of the players you got. Now, let's talk about your new one of your new coaches. Why don't you go and introduce our new guest?
Yeah, you know, probably the most important person in this room right now is my new defense coordinator, Seth Durr.
Probably got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
a lot of work to do.
No doubt. But, you know, I hired Seth, I guess it was February, beginning of February, end of January. Very excited about having Seth. He's coming to us from the College of Worcester, where he did an outstanding job as a defense coordinator there, and he was also a player there. He was an All-American there, and Seth Durr.
Seth, well, first of all, welcome to the Gary Goff Show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Russ. Appreciate it.
And welcome to Tiffin University. How long have you been in town now?
Like Gary said, since January, and just kind of got settled in, jumped right in with the players and the staff, and loved every minute of it. Great university, great people here.
Okay, so you played at Worcester yourself?
I did. Yeah, I played linebacker there. Was fortunate to have a really good career. Came out of college, coached for a couple of Division III schools, one down in Virginia called Averett University. Mm-hmm. And then I was at Ohio Northern up here in Northwest Ohio for 1 year, and then was at the College of Worcester for 7 years as the defense coordinator before Gary gave me a call.
Okay, where's this connection come in? Where did all that start?
There really wasn't one, to be honest with you. You know, what I did is I started doing research. I wanted to try to find somebody who ran a solid defense, who could stop the runs, had some success. So I started researching a lot of different schools. And after making a bunch of phone calls, I spoke to a guy who kind of knew about Seth. I started looking at Seth's basically resume and looking at what he's done on the defense side of things for the last 4 years, and knew he fit, knew it was somebody that I wanted. So I called him and basically tried to convince him to come down here and talk to me. And yeah, he didn't know where the call was coming from at first because it was out of left field. I did call his boss first to get permission to speak with him, but you know, so I convinced him to come over here and take a look at things. And I think he'll tell you from looking from the outside in, I don't know if Tiffin hadn't had a lot of success. What's going on there? There's got to be some issues. And then after getting him on campus, he was convinced. Wow, you're right, Gary. This place is going to turn around. No doubt about it.
If you could have seen the university and the program 5-10 years ago to where it is now, I mean, if it continues to grow the way it is, sky's the limit for this place.
Yeah. Like Gary said, grew up in Ohio, and I think that I knew that Tiffin had a lot of success, especially from becoming Division II recently, and so didn't know what to expect until I got here. But first of all, the campus impressed me right away. The new Heminger Center obviously is a great selling point. That's something that there's no doubt that makes you a lot better in the recruiting process. And Gary sold me on his vision of where the program is going, and knowing the type of things that he was doing and doing it the right way to make this program better. Really, I knew that you can be successful, and we are going to be successful here. And so I felt like it was a win-win, and it was a great opportunity to come be a part of that.
Well, when you first came on campus and first became part of the program here at Tiffin University, and you looked at the defense, what was the first thing you said, I got to change this? What was the first thing that you thought of?
I think you got to change the mentality of the players to really believe in themselves that they can stop people. I think that, in my opinion, no matter what you're doing in life, if you don't have confidence, you're not going to be successful.
It's absolutely true.
So I think that that's got to come from the coaching and really making the kids believe and help them understand that the preparation they put in allows them the right to have confidence in what they're doing, and also making them understand how the scheme works to be a team defense and be able to, as Gary I'm sure has mentioned, to stop the run first. And no matter who you play, you've got to do that to be successful and to win football games.
We'll talk a little bit about your defense as they went through camp and as you now are into the first game week. Talk a little bit about your kids on the defensive side of the ball.
We're really excited. I think that even going back further to spring ball, we really have a lot of kids older guys who've made plays within this defense before and are coming back. They've had to learn a new system, yet have really retained a lot of what we taught in the spring as they came into the fall. They were really leaders in implementing the defense, making younger guys understand. But we've really had a lot of guys compete hard on a daily basis and grow in the understanding of how they fit I think work to get better at their fundamentals of being great tacklers every play, but we really have a lot of guys who I think that a good mixture of guys who've bought into what we're doing, and really some older guys who've made plays, but then some younger guys who are really stepping up to be leaders of the future.
Now, Coach Goff talked about how I believe you said you brought in 7 linebackers this year to for the depth side. Talk a little bit about the depth of what you got on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I think certainly linebacker was a place of need for us, and we targeted, and they did before we even got here, as a place that we have to get better. And so we're very excited about our depth. I think up front we really have 8 guys we feel confident about playing at the defensive line position. We feel like we have really almost 8 to 9 linebackers that we could put out there as well, who've all competed and we feel like can make plays. And then we have a really solid 2 deep in the secondary as well. And I think that we've had, I think really have more guys that are physical, that want to step up and stop the run at the linebacker position, which you know in this conference is very important.
Well, it's also important defensive line up front to be able to free up those linebackers. Talk about your line a little bit.
Absolutely. A guy who's coming back who's been a player for us, Joe Collard, is a big, strong kid.
Why do we keep mentioning his name every time we talk? Every time we talk, his name comes up.
He's been impressive since I've been here in the spring. He's physically just a guy that really stands out to you, but he also does well with his technique and understands what he needs to do to be successful, not only with his size, but how to use those tools. I think that the linebacker position as well, Josh Pribble's the guy who stepped in as a Mike linebacker and really made a lot of plays for us. We do have some other, going back to D-line, some other interior guys who are playing for us. Really we have 4 D tackles we feel good about in Logan Kaminsky.
Local kid.
Logan came from Tiffin's, worked really hard and become a very good leader for us up there. Cody Reisman's a young guy, didn't get a chance to play last year for us, but we expect big things from him as well. And then a guy who's emerged for us is a guy named James Rainey, who worked really hard in the offseason to become very strong. And so those guys we feel like are the heart of our defense for stopping the run first, and that's what it's about.
So it all comes down to, as we've said before, blocking and tackling on the defensive side of the ball. It's get that guy down.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what scheme, no matter what type of players you have out there, they got to find the ball and tackle it. In the end, that's defensive football. So
absolutely.
That's what we talk about first, and give them great effort to do that. I think if you get your kids to believe in that, you got a chance.
You talk about schemes a little bit there. What type of changes are you bringing with your philosophy to what the defense is already doing here at Tiffin?
Well, I think that we're going to be a little bit different in our base scheme. We do want to be multiple, but I think in the end, you got to be simple enough that your kids understand it. No matter what you do, you got to line up and be gap sound, and that's what I try to teach our guys, is that each and every play, we better know what gap you have. You got to use technique to take that gap on, and then go give great effort to get the football wherever it goes. So we try to be multiple, yet keep it simple enough that our guys understand it and they can go execute.
And when just keeping it simple, is that also part of keeping disciplined as well on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a fine line as a coach to not make things too complicated for your kids. We can get X and O happy sometimes because there's a lot of great schemes out there that might work, but if your kids can execute it, it's no good. So I think we really set out in the springtime and tried to carry that over in the fall, that we're going to be simple and be good at what we do and be sound in our defense, and then let our kids play. And so we're not thinking too much. We're just going to know what we're supposed to do and go do it.
Well, McHenry University on the schedule here to open up week 1, 1:30 kickoff, as I said, here at Frost County Stadium. I'm sure you've looked at them on film a little bit from last year. What are you expecting on their offensive side of the ball as you prepare for them this year?
It's a little bit difficult. They've got a new offensive coordinator. I think they were searching for a little bit of identity last year, just doing changing some things throughout the year.
Well, it makes it a little difficult for them when they look at you, too, with the new defensive coordinator.
Yeah. I think more than anything, they want to run the football. I think they're going to line up in 1 or 2 tight ends and have 2 backs in the field a good bit, and really try to run at you between the tackles. And if you don't stop that, they're going to continue to do it. And they're going to try to run the football until you force them to throw it. That's what we're being prepared for, and looking forward to the challenge.
Seth Durr's his name. He's a new defensive coordinator here at Tiffin University. Coach Goff, talk a little bit about Coach Durr and his interaction with the kids, how the kids have taken to Coach Durr.
Well, I'll tell you what, I knew that I'd hired the right guy when the first day of spring practice, they're out there and they are working on fundamentals. He didn't go out there and throw in a defense and say, this is what we're going to do. They were out there working on the little bitty things to piece the entire defense together. And he's done that ever since he's been here. It's exciting for me to peek over my shoulder and see on the defensive end that they got pursuit drill. They're working on tackling drills. They're working on creating turnovers. I mean, they're working, and that's exciting. And I've asked the kids, hey, what do you think? And you can see in the kids' eyes that they're really excited on that side of the ball because they're being coached. And they're being coached by a guy who believes in what he does, and it's sound. And at the end of the day, as long as you're putting them in the right position and they know what to do, they're the ones who got to execute it. Now we might be overmatched at times here and there, but as long as we got them going in the right direction and they know their assignments, hey, we can compete. And so that's why I'm really, really excited and encouraged, because I know they're getting coached. I don't have to worry about that side of the ball right now. I've got my own side of the ball I've got to worry about.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, Coach Durr, when you looked at film from last year's Tiffin University defense, I'm sure the fundamentals probably was the number one thing that you felt like you had to get back in here and instill back in this defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. I think, Russ, there was, when I looked at it, the big thing that stood out, it had a ton of missed tackles. And I'm not going to sit here and kid myself or you that we're going to make every tackle on the field. Certainly you're always going to have some missed tackles, but just didn't seem to be that focus of guys running the football, giving great effort, and being where they need to be. And I think that that's what we really got to try to focus on initially is, being fundamentally sound and then working on the scheme from there as you get better.
Yeah, let's talk quickly here before we go to commercial break. You bring your family here to Tiffin and everything? You guys settled in?
We're still in the process of moving, actually. So it's probably a long process.
I'm sure.
My wife,
he hadn't had a day off yet. What are you talking about?
I bet.
Not quite, but my wife actually just found a job up in the Toledo area. So
okay.
We're going to be kind of relocating up towards that area. I have a young daughter as well, so we're both really excited to be a little bit closer. It's been kind of tough. I've been here a good bit, which has been great to sink my teeth into this coaching staff and get to know these players and coach here, but it makes it tough on the family life too when you're further away. So.
That's one thing I've always wondered, how you got to have a woman who loves you if you're going to be married to a football coach. I mean, because there's a lot of change and the hours that you put in. So it's you got a good relationship if your wife's willing to put up with that for your profession.
The wives kind of joke and say, well, we're football widows.
Yeah,
they got us all spring, all summer. Then come August, see ya.
Yeah. Well, how much do they really have you spring and summer? Because I'm sure you're still thinking about football quite a bit.
But.
Well, it's nice with your wife working up around the Toledo area. You can find a nice location in between Tiffin and Toledo where it's pretty central for pretty easy to get both ways. So that should work out pretty well for you. Well, welcome to Tiffin, man. It's nice to have you here. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again here on the Gary Goff Show and Dragon Radio as well. And best of luck this Saturday, 1:30, when the football's on the tee and your defense gets out on the field, man. Thank you for being here. That's Seth Durr, defense coordinator for the Tiffin University Dragons. Time to take another break. We'll step aside. When we come back, we got one more segment I left, Coach. First Gary Goff Show is flying by, isn't it?
It is.
We'll be back after this. You're listening to Gary Goff Show on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3, and at WTTF.com.